Welcome to a new episode. Today we would like to talk about the relationship between the accessibility consultant and the contractor. The first thing is when you are looking for a new service contractor, you should look if you have already a service contractor or different service contractors. You should look if they are willing to prepare for accessibility. In most cases, they are, but you should also insist that they are training to work in digital accessibility. It's not an easy job, but it is. They can make it if they try, and it is very necessary that they at least look. Take a deeper look, dive into the topic, and not only take a small amount of time to invest in this topic. It is very important that you are dealing much more deeply with the topic. I think in this area, personal, like in every area, the personal recommendations are very important. That means that you can ask your contacts in perhaps in similar companies or in the trade chamber or on your LinkedIn contacts or whoever might be helpful to ask for service providers which satisfied the contact. That's a very good source for recommendation or for appropriate accessibility consultants. Then the difficult way is to look for contractors in the wildlife. This is very difficult because there are, of course, a lot of companies, perhaps all bigger companies say that they at least have knowledge about accessibility, and that may be right. But that does not mean that they are deep in the topic of accessibility. And that may be a problem because you cannot judge from the website or the presentation of a candidate if they are really deep into accessibility. There you have to grave digger deeper and to look for examples, references they have made, projects they have made already in the past in digital accessibility, their presence on conferences, perhaps expertise in the field. If they have such an expertise, they should talk about that. Another problem is that you cannot judge whether they are very deep in the topic. And one possibility is to ask for processes. That means you can ask them, the candidates, what kind of processes they are using to establish accessibility in their projects. That means they have project testing metrics, testing routines, and things like that. And that and how the persons who are involved in accessibility are keeping on with the topic. This is also a very important thing. And if they can't answer that correctly, there may be a problem. Another possibility is, of course, you can work, continue the work with the existing service provider and look for an external accessibility consultant. That may be the easier way in some cases, but it brings another problem. The problem may be that there is a third party involved which can make it more complicated to coordinate the whole thing. It may be a big problem. Of course, you can also hire disabled persons as specialist experts, but you have to be careful because it can be that they are only experts for their own disabilities. That means a visual impaired person may be an expert for visual impairment, but visual impairment is, of course, an important but not the only disability in the field, as it makes it much more difficult. You as contractor has to decide. So you may not push the decision to the consultant or the third party. You are responsible for your website or application. And it is difficult when you say, okay, I deliver it to another person, for example, a third party, the decision. That makes it very difficult. And most consultants would say, okay, I don't take the responsibility for that. Then there may be goal conflicts, especially between different service providers. That makes it also difficult, as it means that you as contractor have to decide and to coordinate the decisions, and you have to prioritize. It is very important that you cannot push away this decision and prioritizing thing. You as a contractor have to make it clear that the wish for accessibility is very high and the priority, and you cannot give that to the accessibility consultant because the consultant is also a third party. So that was it for the time. I hope you enjoyed the episode and would be glad if you come again next time. Goodbye.